One shining moment.
It is the best time of year.
It is, man.
I mean,
it is.
I know you're
That's what's just so tough. It's like, man, just like it's like I was playing at the playground. They just came, took my ball, and I'm just sitting there by myself.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 19 of the Better Blue podcast, and it's a good one. I'm Ryan Kelly. On the other side of the couch is James Michael McAdoo. What's up?
What's up, brother? My bad, man.
No, it's all good. I know your mind is, woo,
yeah.
It's going crazy. This has been a wild week. We're recording this right after the ACC tournament as well as the announcement of the NCAA tournament bracket.
Selection Sunday.
As always, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. To the new people, welcome.
We're on all platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok for now.
Yeah. We'll see what
Better
happens
Blue
there.
Podcast. Hit us in the mailbag. We're trying to accumulate a good amount of questions in the mailbag, especially after Carolina season has come to an end, and we'll see what happens with Duke. We definitely want to touch on that going into the offseason here. But an exciting episode, especially for the Blue Devils, obviously not so much for the Tar Heels. But you want to get into just a little rundown of what we're going to be talking about this episode?
Yeah, we're going to talk about what happened to the UNC basketball season. A lot to get to there.
A lot to unpack.
And then hit, obviously, Duke ACC Tournament champions, talk a little bit about their run there, how they're ascending at the right time of the season, and where their bracket, where they fell in the bracket, their seeding, and their path to a potential championship, what that looks like. And then maybe throw in a little, who do we think is going to win the whole thing at the end, a little guess. And you mentioned the mailbag.
Yep.
And you might not have seen this, but I did get this in the mailbag, and I thought I'd start the episode.
Please.
And this is from Harry B. And Harry messaged and said...
Harrison Barnes?
No, not Harrison Barnes. Another Harry B. It would be funny if this was Harrison Barnes.
I'm going to text him after this episode like, dude, are you trolling?
The question is, when your teammate, Mr. McAdoo, before the season mentioned on your podcast that he wasn't sure if UNC would lose a game, was he referring to not losing a game once they got to the NIT?
Man, what a take that was.
Just one more time, Dev. You've already put it in a clip. Throw it in there again.
Honestly, you got us going 10-1. I'm a homer. I got us maybe going undefeated this year, bro. I think we're going to have to – there's going to get to a point this season where we're going to be like, are these guys going to lose? Feels like yesterday, if I'm being honest.
True.
This season
time has
flew by.
Flew by.
Definitely was not making that comment with the NIT in mind. The NIT was the farthest thing from my mind. If anything, I would thought y'all were going there. And now neither of us is going. But, yeah. Any other questions in the mailbag we need to cover, man?
No, that was it. I just wanted to start our conversation on Carolina with that.
You start us off, man. You start us off. I feel like the last episode was a therapy session. I feel like this one is going to turn into another therapy session for us Tar Heel fans. But the season is over.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that, that I'm just taking away from it. It's over. It's in the past. And I'm just, honestly, the last 5-6 hours when clearly I didn't believe we were going to make the tournament. For sure, we had a chance, but just going off of what I saw in the comments that I heard, I just felt like the committee wasn't going to let us in, and clearly they didn't. And then I guess there was like an hour, in between when Selection Sunday happened and when the comment came out from the UNC basketball office that they were not going to be participating in NIT. So, we're still fresh off of that. The emotions are still fresh, still just tough to process. We can get into it, but just a lot to unpack. But definitely just proud of the guys. It was rough. We set a lot of records for all the wrong reasons this year. And, you know.
I was going to mention that you're the first team since the NCAA tournament bracket expanded to be preseason number 1 and not make the tournament.
And I guess probably some other records too.
Yeah, I would venture to guess. Yep.
But it's over, you know. Moving on. Moving on. Got to move on, baby. Life goes on,
You're
baby.
trying here.
Life goes on.
Trying to keep the positivity.
Trying, man. I've tried this year, you know. We've been critical of the team. I've been critical of the team, you know. That's what we do here on this podcast. We both are former D1 athletes. Yourself a Blue Devil, myself a Tar Heel. I wore that jersey. I went to the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row when I was there, you know. And I will say this, Ryan, the stuff that I'm just seeing on social media, bro, is just, I feel for these kids, man. You know, like, obviously this was not how any of them wanted this year to go. They didn't all come back to do this, you know, to make the run that they made, to be up, I think it was 40-25 at half against Kansas, and to lose, to get so close, and then to make the decision to come back and try to make another run. And we talked about this last week. They knew it wasn't going to be easy, and they all came back with the understanding that they had an opportunity to leave a legacy. And, boy, things just went wrong. But at the same time, I think we got to remember these are kids. And it's tough, man, because I just see so much just hate, bro. And I'm like, I know there's real Carolina fans out there. You know, we know this. You know, we've both played at the highest level. We know what comes with that. But it's just tough, man, because it's like having been in those kids' shoes and knowing that I wasn't on a team that was quite this bad, I can only imagine some of the stuff that they're having to read from so-called fans. So that's probably honestly what's weighing on my heart the most, man. I just wish that the Carolina fans would just come behind these kids and support them. You're entitled to your opinion. That doesn't make it right, and it's probably wrong because you've probably never been an athlete at that level. You really have no idea what you're talking about. So I think you're better off just supporting these guys. Trust me, I've been in their shoes, you know. It doesn't make them feel any better.
Definitely not. On the list of people I feel are players, Carolina basketball related, that I feel worst for
sure.
I think number 1 has to be Pete Nance.
Yeah.
Having gone from Northwestern 4 years, where they were pretty bad at Northwestern, and then transfers to Carolina, the preseason number 1 team, and ultimately does not make the tournament while his former team, Northwestern, punches their ticket. That's a pretty brutal shakeup for your 5th year of college basketball.
But he is sponsored by Oreos.
He's doing okay. No, he's doing okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't feel bad for him. I mean, that's life sometimes.
Absolutely.
He's got to live with that decision. At the time, for sure. Come on, man. Like, it was the right decision, bro. North Carolina comes calling. You're at Northwestern. I mean, I can't imagine saying no to Carolina and having the opportunity to step into the position that he stepped into. But I get where you're coming from because nobody saw that coming.
No, it's no way he did. No. I would say at this point, while I have been pretty critical of Caleb Love, and I think much more than you have been, the way that, let's be honest, we all go on Twitter and see what's going on. The way that the scathing Carolina fans have been against him has been rough to see online. And like you said, he's a kid. I feel bad for him. I do. I would say this.
I mean, Caleb was such a just high-level recruit. So it's just so hard because he came in with such high expectations, bro.
Yep.
You know, McDonald's All-American. You're coming to Carolina. You know, you're only supposed to be there. The outside media is saying, oh, you can only be there 1 year, you know. And here he is 3 years in, really having peaked in that second year in that run that they made. And, you know, it just seems like everybody's turned on him. You know, and like we have been highly critical of him, but that's just in terms of him as a basketball player. You know, he's obviously a great kid.
Yep. And
it'll be interesting to see. We can talk about this in a little bit, just in terms of what he does now. And I think that might have played into, I can only speculate here, why Carolina might have turned down that NIT bid. You know, we have no idea who made that decision. Could have been the AD, could have been Hubert. You know,
So
they might not even have enough players. Dudes could. We don't know, bro.
Yeah,
we don't even know.
Again, it could be speculation
for sure.
But man, this is a tough place to be. By the way, when you're really, I mean, we all expected Carolina to be out when they're lost in the ACC tournament. I think there were some people that were hopeful that they'd slip in there, but I think both of us had the expectation that they probably were not making the tournament, and so this is a kind of a stinky place to be. But to stay fresh and avoid going several days without meaningful reps or work, UNC held a shoot-around on Friday after they had lost. Per multiple sources, Davis asked each player to anonymously share via note card if they wanted to participate in the NIT. We're told the majority of the team voted to decline the invitation.
Yeah. So if that's true, then there you have it.
Yep.
You know,
players didn't. I think a lot of things, body language, the words of Baycott after losing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just the way everybody kind of seemed, it was like, we're done. Like this team, we never figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, the Baycott saying basically, you know, I guess we're just not that good.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not the type of thing you hear from a player who
Yeah.
could potentially make the NCAA tournament, right? They, I think, were all resigned to the fact that their season was over. And ultimately, it is.
Yeah.
I will say this, too. I have noticed on Twitter a little bit. I'm not claiming to be the first person that said this, but when Carolina had their struggles early in the season, I don't know if you remember one of the early pods, I was saying, you guys sold your soul to end Coach K's career with 2 losses.
Which we did.
I think he did.
Which we did. I mean, all that happened. You know, and it was basically the same team.
Yeah.
Same coach.
Yep.
Same staff. You know, minus Brady Manick, and I'm assuming there was some turnover with the walk-ons.
Yeah. Apparently Brady Manick was a huge.
I don't think he was, man, and everybody says that. I mean, clearly he was a big, integral part.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. We'll have to. I mean, we can go back and look at the numbers, and of course, he was just as hot as everybody else on that team during that run. But yeah, this was nobody saw this coming, bro.
I mean, we're living in speculation world over here in Japan, but I'd have to venture to guess. Does not mean that anybody's a bad kid or anything. That there was some sort of, it just didn't click. Whether it was off the court, whether it was the NIL stuff, who knows? People are human. Kids are kids. It just seems so impossible to think that this team, even if they were quote unquote undeserving of being number 1 at the preseason, there was still a top 10 team.
Top 10,
And to then ultimately not make the tournament is just it's a massive disappointment. There's no way around it. And
do you think anybody will be held accountable this offseason? I mean, obviously college is a lot different than the pros. You know, had Carolina been a pro team, we would have probably seen trades made. Yeah. We would have probably seen, who knows if if they would have fired a coach, if this would have been a professional situation. In Europe, probably yes. In the NBA, maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much, yeah. And remember, we talked about it. Hubert signed an extension right after last year. So that's not – I don't think that's anything that's even being thought or questioned. I think honestly, I think the one person, unfortunately, that becomes a bit of the scapegoat is Caleb. Yeah. Where I think ultimately most people say, oh, we would take Baycott back. Yeah. RJ Davis, he ended the year really well. We'd take him back. Yeah. And I think a lot of fans would ultimately go, what was our biggest issue?
Oh, they are. Trust me. That's
Caleb.
That's all they're saying.
So I think that is the scapegoat. And while I would argue that this would be the time to try and get him back for another year and be able to say, look, what you're doing hasn't worked well. We need to change your game and fit you into a role that is better than the way you're playing right now. And
the roster, and we'll talk about this at a later time. Yeah. Please hit us in the mailbag also if you got any other questions. But I think this offseason, the roster will have a lot more flexibility. Yeah. In terms of the last 2 years, all you saw was really the addition of Brady Manick. Okay. And then this year, you saw just the addition of his replacement, Pete Nance. Yep. I think this year, you're clearly going to see a lot more turnover. We're losing Leaky, we're losing a couple more guys. So there's going to be a lot more roster flexibility in terms of who we can go out and find, who we can bring in. And as just down in the dumps as I am right now. I got hope. I got hope. Although we are months and months and months away from just, a breath of fresh air for this team, I think, once again, if what we talked about is true, I think that was the right move from Hubert and his staff. And, just kind of putting this season to bed.
Well, what I would say is for the NIT in Carolina, it's not really a win-win. It's basically a lose-lose. They win the whole thing, people are laughing saying, how are they in the NIT and winning that? Yeah. They lose a game, it's embarrassing. Yeah. The only possibility for doing the NIT is if you just said, we want to develop the young players. And you're like, Baycott sit, RJ Davis sit, Caleb Love sit. Everybody else, and then if you lose, you go, well, this was about development, and no team really does that.
Nobody's doing that.
That's not something that any team ever does. So I was not shocked by
especially Carolina.
Yeah,
some teams maybe so. Yeah, maybe some teams might do that. But Carolina and Duke well,
Duke's.
We know
we don't have that issue of going to the NIT or having to make that choice. So I mean, no. Way around it.
Season is over, man.
It's over.
Sheesh.
For you guys. And now we get to talk about Duke.
Yeah. One last thing. Just thank you to the team, man. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to the people that was behind the scenes. We do this podcast to cover them. And I guess we won't be seeing them for quite a while. Besides just seeing the news and seeing what these young men are going to do. And that'll be very interesting. We're going to have some very interesting conversations.
I was going to say there'll certainly be things that will be coming that we'll have a chance to talk about, recruiting classes, who stays, who goes. What will be interesting, too, I think, and I don't want to say it was an issue with this team, but maybe it was. We saw the lack of bench, the lack of just players playing. And when guys decide to come back, they're so entrenched in their position, right? Yeah. Assuming, let's say, Baycott comes back, he's going to play 38 to 40 minutes that now somebody else is not going to play those minutes. And obviously, if Baycott's there, that's a good thing. He's helping your team. But it also, from a developmental standpoint for other players, takes away from that.
Yeah. Do you think he'll come back?
I think Baycott is coming back. Yeah. Especially between the NIL.
Between Armando, RJ and Caleb, what do you think? Just Armando's coming back.
Armando's coming back. RJ's coming back. And I think Caleb Love, I have no insight, but I would say he's gone.
Yeah, we have no insight.
Yeah, we have no insight. I would say he was gone because between the rough year and just how Carolina fans have somewhat scapegoated him, I would say he's gone.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. Although I would love to see Caleb come back and just totally stick it to the world. I thought he was going to do it in the UVA game. I was sitting on this very couch, man. Like, come on, bro. Just turn up one time. He turned up. He
decidedly did not.
Couldn't
get him over the hump.
Couldn't get him over the hump, man. Yeah.
Which is, like I said, I do feel bad because ultimately he certainly was confident. And he plays the game with confidence. He just couldn't find it. And
y'all let us know, Carolina fans, Duke fans. We don't want to hear nothing from y'all. The real Carolina fans, let us know. Hit us in the comments. What do y'all think? The program goes from here. I don't want to hear anything about this past season.
It is over.
It's over.
It is over.
Appreciate y'all rocking with us. All right.
Let's put Carolina to bed.
Yeah.
The old the Steph Curry.
Yeah. Night. Shout out to Manscape for supporting the Better Blue podcast. We appreciate them for rocking with us.
We got a nice setup.
Front and center.
Did a little better than on the couch last time.
We are a podcast by the people, for the people, self-made, get it out the mud. And Manscaped saw that and has come alongside and partnered with us. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, and we got it right here, front and center, for y'all to take a look at. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code
BetterBluePod.
BetterBluePod.
All caps.
At manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 14 million balls. Listen, Manscaped is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get right. Trust me, you don't want to be using any other products but Manscaped. Ain't that right, Ryan?
That's the truth. And now I have officially given Manscaped a try.
Respect, brother.
And I came out unscathed.
Up top, down low, or in between?
All over the place.
Okay, my brother. I see you.
I came out unscathed.
Good man.
And everybody's happy in my house.
Good man. Listen, I got to tell you what. This weed whacker right here, it gets you right. It gets you right. Shout out to my dad. You know, I love him, but he cursed me with the nose hairs. I'm 30 years old, and I'm using the weed whacker just going to town up in there. Appreciate it, Pops. You can get 20% off. Don't take my word for it. Definitely don't take a Blue Devil's word for it. Check it out. Go on their website, 20% off, free shipping with the code BetterBluePod at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use the code. Do not forget to use the code because then you won't get the discount. That's how it works. Use the code BetterBluePod. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Maybe you're right, man. Maybe Carolina did sell their soul to hang that Final Four banner, to send Coach K out with 2 L's. But, man, it definitely seems like Duke and Shire they're rolling. What is that, 9 in a row?
9 straight, including the
9
tournament.
straight. Won the ACC tournament convincingly.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they would maybe have a little trouble with UVA, but I felt like they handled that game the entire way out, man. So congrats to y'all, you know.
Appreciate that, especially considering if we go back to another comment or projection you made, they were going to lose to Pitt.
I did say that.
And that was a 25-point
it was not
drubbing.
Even close to a game.
Like I said, for a young team, I've said the last few weeks, they're a lot better now than they were at the beginning of the season. And also on top of that, this is a team that, when fully healthy, is now 17-1 with their full roster in a healthy state. So,
and the one loss was that the UVA game?
Was that the UVA game?
It might have been.
I think it was the UVA game, which, I mean, look, this wasn't the strongest of ACC years, but when we look back at this season, Duke can ultimately look back and say, we really should have been at least tied for ACC regular season championship.
Would have been a 3-way tie.
It would have been a 3-way tie. After that, really we had 2 losses that were certainly could have been our wins. But that UVA non-call at the end of regulation was egregious that the ACC apologized for, while also saying, quote, "This matter's closed." Come on. That was a banner that was taken away from us, really. And then to go on and win the ACC tournament in a year that started with people, I don't think anybody was questioning Shire, but was also a disappointment for a lot of the year. We sat on this couch and said, wow, this is between Carolina and Duke so underperforming. Not great well, maybe you could argue good content for the podcast, but there were moments where we thought this whole thing was going downhill for both teams, and Duke ultimately has ascended to a place where, they get to hang a banner. Yeah.
Maybe it's our fault, man. Maybe it's my fault for trying to capitalize off of UNC success last year.
You jumped on a pod right after that?
They won't doubt our commitment after this year. They won't doubt my commitment. No, you're right, man. I mean, I can't sit up here and chastise y'all for almost winning a bad, ACC regular season championship when we also struggled. So, kudos to y'all for definitely what would seem, righting the wrong in terms of getting robbed in that UVA game and, taking matters into your own hands and winning the ACC championship. I think that speaks to Shire. I think that's, what a way to start off your first year coaching. You know, Hubert did not win the ACC championship last year, finished second, but had a crazy run to the national championship game. And now here you have Shire having, just as much success with an opportunity to make another deep run into the NCAA tournament, which will be definitely interesting. But the guys were young, they were unproven, and throughout the course of the season, they, struggled here, but they're playing their best basketball when it matters. And that's all you can ask for in college basketball.
I appreciate it. It sounded like after winning the ACC tournament, some of the quotes that I read and listened to, the team definitely felt like they were on a revenge tour to get back at some of the losses they had felt earlier in the year. And, got the chance to revenge Miami, got the chance to revenge UVA. And even to the point where after winning, I think Filipowski, K-Flip said, almost like sounded like he was bummed that they didn't get the chance to get back Clemson. Which I appreciated that mindset and hope that now ultimately after getting a 5 seed, which was a bit of a disappointment for the NCAA.
Yeah, it was
a little low. That Duke will feel that same sense of underdogishness, if you will, which Duke doesn't ultimately generally have.
The Empire, baby.
The Empire. Duke, Yankees, Lakers,
the Empire,
Cowboys. But I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. The growth. I said last pod that my MVP of the regular season was K-Flip. Well, it was between K-Flip and Jeremy Roach, and I chose Roach. But look, in the championship game, who were the two guys that showed up? It was those two guys that carried the Duke team with a lot of role players that have grown into their roles. And I'll say it again, a testament to John that he got these young guys to buy into, not necessarily being the main guy, but complimenting each other. And I don't think that's an easy thing for a coach to do when guys are expected to be leaving after the season one and done. So kudos to John and that whole staff for being in a position where they've gotten guys to buy in and improve over the course of the season.
Do you see them in terms of the NCAA tournament? Do you see them having the ability to make a long run? I mean, we've talked about their matchups. We got, Oral Roberts up first down in Orlando. If they win that game, they're more than likely to play a Tennessee in the second round. How are you feeling about those particular matchups? We can start with Oral Roberts if you want.
Yeah, Oral Roberts is good.
Sure. But keep it 100, man. Have some confidence in your team.
No,
man.
I'm very confident.
All right, man.
I would say that's where I don't want to say we got screwed by any. That's not the way it is. But we're getting a 5 seed hurt us. I mean, 5-12s are always tough matchups historically. And I believe I read the stat that this is the first season for Duke since 2007 where they weren't a 4 seed or higher, which is crazy. I'm sitting here praising John and how well they finished the season and win 9 straight, and they're still a 5 seed. Which I think a lot of people were a little surprised. There were some that said they could have been a 3.
They finished the year top 20 almost.
I know. It was.
They were 21 before they beat UVA. There's no way they should have been.
Clearly did not take into account the ACC tournament as the you would have expected.
Right.
But Oral Roberts is good. They have that kid Max Abmas, I think his last name is,
20.
who just in 2021 they went to the Sweet 16. So that will be a tough matchup. No question about it in the 5-12 slot. And ultimately, obviously, I think Duke's going to prevail, but it'll be it will depend upon how they find a way to stop that kid, because that's a team that went to the Sweet 16 with him leading the ship. So
I hate to say it, if y'all can get out of the first weekend,
kind of nice.
It'll give Carolina fans a nightmare, the fact that y'all get to go to New York City. And I'm assuming Madison Square Garden, or is it Bark? I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But either way, you're home.
Our second home.
Yeah, your second home, which we talked about.
Though we did not get Greensboro in the opening weekend. That was a possibility to get Greensboro, and we end up in Orlando.
But I will say, Greensboro hasn't always fared the best for y'all.
True.
I was watching clips of C.J. McCollum earlier today just to kind of get my spirits up. It's like, Duke upsets in the first round of the tournament. Just to get my hopes up.
That was my junior year. I always say I was hurt. It wasn't my fault.
Mark it. He was not in uniform.
Actually, they put me in uniform despite having a broken foot to be like, he could play. He could play. I did not.
Lehigh, CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that when he beat y'all. He's like coming out of the tunnel. We're getting ready to run out there, and we're just like, we appreciate you, sir.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. I think it'll be nice, man. Nice little trip down to Orlando for the guys.
Yeah.
Go down to O-Town, hit up Disney, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be. They go on Tuesday. This probably the day this pod comes out. So they'll be down there, get a couple days to acclimate before the game on Thursday. Get a couple practice rounds in, and
I just still can't believe Carolina's not in the tournament.
I know we're trying to talk about
y'all
Duke
are on the way down, and we are literally sitting at home. This is just so tough for me, man.
Yeah,
holy shit.
I can see that, but I do like to go back to that. I do like Duke's bracket shakedown, and look, this is such a crapshoot. I mean, with one game, you just never know.
Yeah.
But the fact that they get a Tennessee team potentially in the second round that lost their point guard to injury, and then in the third round are playing a Purdue team that again would be a revenge game.
Yeah.
And Zach Edey's an outstanding player that's very difficult to stop. But I don't think anybody would say that, you know, that team is so unbelievably, overwhelmingly talented that a Duke team can't compete with them. So,
y'all are a weird team because if I'm sitting here, right, and just off the top of my head, things that make a team, like things a team needs to make a deep run in the tournament.
Shooting,
guard play, but shooting is, I think, far, far, far away as the number one.
Yep.
But y'all have been defending, man.
That's the thing.
Y'all have really been defending. If you can defend in these tournaments, on these neutral site games, you can stay in games. And that's what matters. The
size and length, to have 2 7-footers on the back line.
Roach.
Wings are long.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm gonna be tuned in. Let's go Oral Roberts, baby. You know,
yeah, you're gonna come in with an Oral Roberts shirt.
Boy.
The ACC had a tough go of it,
man.
Generally, for the tournament. I think, you know, Clemson was really a team that a lot of people were upset did not make the tournament as the 3 seed in the ACC as the regular season ended.
Pittsburgh and NC State both made it as 11 seeds.
Yeah, which is low. Yeah. Virginia got that 4 seed. I mean, no top 3 seeds for the ACC. Not that I'm not saying they deserved it, but hey, that's not normal, I would say.
Yeah.
And somebody they were talking on Twitter. I can't remember who said it. It might have been a Raleigh radio personality, but he was saying that I think Louisville single-handedly dragged down the whole ACC's like net rating or whatever.
I believe it.
Yeah. So tough break there, but I have some expectations for a team like Miami to make a little run. Obviously, I believe in Duke. I don't really believe in Virginia, to be honest.
If they'd have beat y'all, I take that back. When we beat them at home, we talked about that because they were sixth in the country at the time. And I just remember watching that game, and we didn't play tremendously great, and they played pretty bad. But I just remember watching that game, and we talked about that. They did not look like the number 6 team in the country.
No, just
at
not
that time.
Scary.
And that was a little over a month ago.
I'd be, if I'm on a random team in the NCAA tournament, I'd be much more scared of running into Duke than I would Virginia. And obviously we just beat them, but I agreed.
Yeah.
So this is the best time of year for
teams that are
you do get to have the experience of being just a fan of the tournament. True. Because now, when you fill out your bracket, there's no pressure. If UNC had been a 15 seed after this season, you would have had that all the way to the championship. Now you get to just be a complete fan, root for underdogs, the whole deal. So while we're here and before the tournament begins, do you have a guess for who's going to win the whole thing?
Man, do I have a guess? If I had to pick a team, I hate to say it, Kansas.
Oh,
Yeah.
dig that knife even
Yeah,
deeper.
even deeper. I think they it'll be interesting to see what happens with Coach Self. Obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to him.
It has been reported that he's out of the hospital,
sure.
and we'll be getting back with the team. I don't know at what level.
Right, at what level. But I could see them definitely rallying around that.
Yeah.
And I've watched them a couple times this year, and they just look good. And
Grady Dick.
And they're just clearly always a good always tournament time. They're good, man.
Yep.
So, what about yourself? If you're not picking Duke.
Oh, I was going to say Duke.
If you're
Put
not
that on the
picking
record.
Duke,
I'll look in the camera. Duke is my pick for the national
if you're
champion.
not picking Duke.
If I wasn't picking
You don't even
Duke,
have to say another team to win it. Who do you think could make a deep run?
Oh, there you go. That's the way to put it.
Yeah, I got you,
Thank
bro.
you. While Houston just lost, they have been good for 2 years in a row. They have continuity. I think that would be a team that certainly can make a deep run, and I don't think anybody would say that is some crazy statement. I do like the kid, despite all the stuff going on at Alabama. Brandon Miller is super talented, but I don't see them as the number one overall team in the country.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of turmoil at throughout the top 25
it's just
all
been
year.
crazy, bro.
I think Kansas is a
safe pick.
A safe pick.
Safe pick.
Yeah, for a safe guy.
Yeah. One shining moment.
It is the best time of year.
It is, man.
I mean,
it is.
I know you're disappointed.
That's what's just so tough. It's like,
yeah.
man, just like it's like I was playing at the playground. They just took my ball, and I'm just sitting there by myself. It's like
maybe we'll have to. Are you gonna fill out a full bracket?
Yeah, we'll fill.
All right, we'll fill out our brackets and put them out
Yeah.
on social media. I got a couple pools I'm in.
Cool.
And we'll see what it shakes up. All I know is I'm going to win my pool if Duke wins the whole thing.
Yeah. From the bottom of my heart, we appreciate all the support. This has been a crazy year. Absolutely ridiculous. Records have been broken. Surprises have happened. And, as painful as it is for me to say that Carolina's season is over, it is. So, moving forward, we're just going to have to basically cover these Blue Devils.
For some of us, the season is over.
Yeah.
For some of us, the season is just beginning.
Yeah. You see, hey, this could be a joint therapy session next week. If your boys don't show up to play.
They're ready.
All right.
Coach Shire will have them ready.
Seriously, though, thank y'all for the support. This has been fun. It's been tough, but it's been fun getting on these mics, coming to y'all, hearing from y'all. Like I said, we're just trying to grow this thing, and the season is clearly coming to an end here. So, we just want to put out as much content as possible. Follow us, subscribe, tell a friend, put us on repeat when you're, working out, all that. We appreciate it. It goes a lot longer. It goes a lot further than you might think. So we're at Better Blue Podcast on all platforms. Ryan Kelly, 34 on all platforms. James McAdoo on all platforms. Shout out to our brother Dev, producer, keeping us, looking good behind the camera.
Yeah, that's all you got to say, man. Thank
That's
you,
it,
guys.
man.
Let's keep riding together. Peace.
Peace.
See you next week.